our president, and all 15 members of council. We certainly welcome you to this facility. We are very pleased and honored to have the USAfrican conference being held, economic conference be held here in our community. It is very important that we develop stronger ties between America, the city of Atlanta, the southeast region of the nation, to our mother country in Africa. Africa is a great nation, a great continent. We have many great nations within the continent.
And the proclamation reads, whereas the vision of the Africa Heritage Foundation, that nations in Africa and the city of Atlanta develop opportunities and new ventures in business, technology, education, and culture, is integral to the continued growth and successful future of Africa. And whereas the future of Atlanta also depends greatly on the bridges we build with other communities around the world. The Bridging the Gap and Building the Bridge Conference helps to achieve this by establishing a platform to address key issues that will have crucial impact on sustainable economic growth and achieving the UN's Millennium Development Goals by 2015. Whereas, under the leadership of Chief Tunde Adetunji, the Bridging the Gap and Building the Bridge concept has become a major vehicle in Atlanta to energize and reclaim the heritage in the African-American community in the US, as well as in African nations. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Atlanta City Council, and on behalf of the more than 500,000 citizens of Atlanta, hereby recognize the Africa Heritage Foundation on this day for its achievements in building a relationship with African-American communities and African nations. Chief Tunde, congratulations.
We at Bank PHB are very proud to be associated with this event. It's because of the importance we attach to issues that relate and affect Africa. That's why we've flown all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, to come for this event. 4 members of our staff are here, and we also intend to use the opportunity in the next 4 days to showcase what services that we can render, the values we can add, both to Nigerians and our other African nations living in diaspora here in Atlanta and in the whole of the US. We have wide-ranging activities that can impact on the lives of Americans, especially those of African descent, especially in this period of hardship that we're witnessing, and hoping that the crisis that the entire world is facing today can be ameliorated, starting from the services that we render. Once again, I want to thank you for having us, and we look forward to having a wonderful conference in the course of 4 days. Thank you.
I'm not sure how much you know about who we are as a Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that, because the concept of the Chamber of Commerce in the United States varies from city to city, and certainly the concept of Chamber of Commerce, it's different between the United States and in most foreign countries. First of all, even though we carry the name of Atlanta, we represent the metropolitan area of Atlanta, which is an area comprised of 22 counties, 22,000 square kilometers, and it's a population of about 5.3 million people. So it's a fairly large area. And the positive of that is the fact that we don't only represent the urban area around the city of Atlanta, but within our territory, the metro area, we also have rural areas, which is conducive to both agricultural or companies that want to relocate here that require big spaces and not necessarily can be accommodated within the city limits. So that gives us a tremendous amount of flexibility to work with our customers and around the world in selling Atlanta.
I want to give you a little bit of, just a little bit of Delta history. I'm not sure if you recognize the fact that what Delta is just a little under 80 years old at this point, and how it came to be. When I tell the story, sometimes people are a little bit amazed. They use, sometimes I think they thought we just started passenger service right away, but that was not the case. To show you how it can come from very humble beginnings. But nearly 80 years ago, down in Macon, Georgia, 1929, Delta started out as a crop dusting organization. And it was called Updale Dusters in Macon, Georgia. Later, a couple of years later, moved to Monroe, Louisiana. And in Monroe, Louisiana, it continued its crop dusting. And the boll weevil was the little enemy. If you know anything about insects, the boll weevil, which killed the cotton plant, was the reason why the airline became profitable, because through the aerial dusting of pesticides, we were able to kill the boll weevil and continue the air service. Still no passengers yet. Then the federal government came in and launched air mail service. And that's when several airlines started up service. And Delta was just one of many back then. And the others included American, United, and even Boeing at one point was an air carrier, not an air maker, but also an air carrier. And we concentrated primarily in the southeast, our routes. We had one particular route that went from Dallas to Atlanta, and then on to Macon. We went from Dallas to Shreveport to Birmingham, and then over to Atlanta. And so imagine that 50 years later, 50, 60 years later, we now have the Delta Airlines that we have now.
All I want to say today is to emphasize or underscore the fact that Africa is indeed emerging, and emerging strongly. If you're actually going to talk about top 20 economies in the world in the next 5 to 10 years, I can assure you that you will have a number of African countries on that list. The opportunity to grow is in telecom, is in renewable energy, is in oil and gas, is in airline, is in financial services, because Africa is a virgin land today.
Bridging the gap and building the bridge towards through the African Village Project. My presentation here is, what do we see as an emerging challenge to make this dream go beyond talking points? How do we get the African leaders, the African American leaders, the people of the world that have taken out of Africa to now come back and bring back and put back to the development of Africa? How do we get the diaspora, the people living outside Africa, to realize that there's a lot of potentials that needs to be developed and also need to be put together in a way that will benefit both the region as well as here?
My position has always been that it is very important that the governments look to improving the infrastructure, building really, because there's really very little to speak of in terms of infrastructure in various African countries. I have always believed that power electrification, power generation is a very key ingredient in this mix of rebuilding the economy. Many people came to this country.
The growing drain that Africa's experienced over the years has been due to lack of opportunity for the African educated or trained child. But those opportunities have really been taken away from them in a way that does not provide any avenue for them to contribute For those of us that are leaving this country, as we know,